Hey, welcome back everyone, Rob here. In today's video I'm going to talk to you about prices that I charge for comic art and why, and some other types of art as well. So one of the things that I think that I can bring to the table when explaining this to people isn't just comic art, because I don't really derive all my income. In fact, I derive a fraction of my income from comic art. But luckily, through using art in general, I've been able to derive an income, a lucrative lifestyle, or relatively lucrative. I don't struggle, I guess. But at the same time, I'm not wealthy or rich by any means. So, but what I want to do is help other artists, new artists or artists that are trying to figure out their path. Basically, what are some of the things that you can do? So this is in response to a couple questions or feedback that I got from another video, which was 5 ways to make money with your digital art. And although some people really liked that video, some of them were like, well, hey, you really didn't talk about the money. You just said the ways to make money with it. And I want to first disclose one of the reasons for that is because it's a little bit difficult to address the money side of it because it's so subjective to so many variables, like where you live and what you need to earn and how big your household is. Are you the person providing for the household? Do you have certain deductions that other people don't? I mean, you get into it, there's a plethora of variables, and it's mind-boggling. So it's hard to say, oh, well, just charge this, because obviously that's going to be different for everybody. So what I'm going to do is give you a look into what I charge, and then I'll go ahead and talk about the why, because I think that factors in pretty heavily. So here I'm just working on my own comic, and I don't make anything for that because I don't charge myself to work on it, and it's my own project of love there. But basically, here's my prices if I work freelance for anybody else, okay? And you're probably going to gasp when you see these prices, or hopefully it motivates you. I don't know, but keep in mind I've been doing it a long time, and we'll get to that in the bottom. So scratch this because we just hit 2019, so these are the same prices anyways. So my current page rate for pencils, $300. I'll go down to $250 if I really want to be on the project, but I don't buckle any less than that. I just don't. I think it's important to keep a stiff upper lip when pricing anything. And you got to know what your breaking point is, and I don't go below that. Current page rate for inks is $100. I don't ink other artists. That's just me inking my own work. So that's pencils, that's inks. Current page rate for digital is $300. I'll go down to $250 there because honestly, I'm a pretty quick digital painter in respect, or I should say, in comparison to pencil and inks. It takes me longer to pencil and ink a page, so I can give a break there for full color. Commission ranges anywhere from $1 to $500. I've sold commissions all the way up to $1,000, and freelance, more like commercial illustration at that point. But just want you to know that I think I actually did one that was a couple grand, but whatever. The commercial art pays a lot more, and so this is really commissions. Like if I sell some fan art or something like that, or just somebody wants their own character drawn, and if it's got a background, I'm going to be more money. If it's inked color, that's when it gets up to a higher number here. Rough concept sketches, really I should say 25 to 50 there, because what I do there is I base it upon hourly. If I'm drawing comics, I don't mind drawing for $25 an hour. Whenever I'm trying to get premium dollar for what I do, I go all the way up to 50. So if sketches only take me a half hour, I'm going to sell those for 25. It's not a big deal. And again, I'm enjoying what I'm doing there more. So I'm going to kind of give a price break, which probably isn't the best business practice advice anyways, but that does factor in. If you want to be part of the project, if you love what you're doing, then you're probably going to budge a little bit, but don't budge too much, and we'll talk about that. Storyboards, $250 per frame. And some of those frames, when I don't do these anymore as much, but when I was doing storyboards for companies, some of those frames, they have such tight deadlines that it would only take like an hour, sometimes 45 minutes, and that's what you'd make. So an insane amount of money, when you start comparing it to comic page rates, and people talking about working on comic pages for $100 for pencils and it's just crazy. I would never do that, but whatever. I guess I got a sample of higher dollar commercial art, so it's hard to go back. But again, you can also think of this in a little bit different direction. You could do this for some of your work, and then you could do some of the comic work for even a lower price because you're making money here. And that's kind of where I come from in the way that I've done things. So I'll talk more about that as well. $150 per frame for line art. I actually prefer these because a lot of times they're really rough, like shooting boards, and I'm faster at rough sketching. I'm good at like thumbnailing things down. So this is where I actually felt more comfortable. But anyways, and keep in mind, don't just look at the number. Storyboarding is very tough, very aggressive, very competitive, and they're demanding. If you think the deadlines are bad for comics, jump into storyboards and you'll love comics. Like storyboards are very fast paced, lots of changes, and you've got to work well with a multitude of people because at any given time you can be on conference calls with 5, 6, sometimes you're talking to people, all of a sudden somebody pops up in the conference call you didn't know was there, and they're like, change his hat or whatever, so that could get pretty demanding, and you got to be able to take notes fast and all this and that, but whatever. So be able to work in a team setting is a big deal right there. Caricature parties, I don't do these as much anymore. Excuse me, but I used to do them all the time, like almost every weekend. I just got sick of giving up my weekends basically, and I got a little bit older and I just quit wanting to do them, I guess. But they were fun. They were a great time. I have some great memories from these. But it was really nice when I was, coming out of high school and then, doing a little bit of college on the side. And they were fantastic ways to earn side cash. That's actually what got me started. I saw it on a pinup board at school. But anyways, caricature parties, 1 to 150 per hour. I actually started at 50 per hour, and I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of money. These are fun. This is great. Then I got a couple agents, and they were like, dude, you're totally shortchanging yourself. It's 1 to 150 per hour, and some were more than that. It's crazy, especially if it's like a really high-end corporate party. I could only do about 12 to 18 faces per hour, and I thought that was really good until I got around other caricature artists, and they were like slamming these suckers out, and some of theirs were a lot better than mine. Just fact of life. But anyways, I had a great time doing it. I was really good at like, powwowing with people and making them laugh and having a good time, and so it was fun. So keep that in mind. A really fun way to make money, and it's great money, obviously. And that's all these numbers are going to vary based upon where you're at, obviously. So your cost of living is different. You're going to get different rates, things like that. So this is just where I'm from. I always hate talking about money because of that, but I just want to give you, I want to paint a picture for you and hopefully help you out. Comic conventions, art prints, 2 to 15. $2 ones were like on regular paper, 15 on the nice, quality printed, I don't know if you call it laminated print, UV coated paper, whatever. 10 if you want to hook somebody up, you do 2 for 20. So you sell those quite often. If you got some nice art prints to get out there, obviously you got to deduct your table and cost of getting to the show and all that. Comics, I would sell my books at the show for $2, and my Learn to Draw Action Heroes book, I sell that for $15 at the show. So I don't have a whole lot of books right now. I've got some old Arrow and Assault books I did back in the day. I sell those as well. But that's what I sell at conventions, so I figured I would include that. And commissions up here also go with that because show sketches and things. All right, so here's the thing I want to hurry up and impart on you is the fact that this took me years to get to these prices. Okay, that's why I want to show you what's down here. But I also want you to be aware that one of the things that I do is I use a variety of art, whether before it was more like designing, logo design. I did a lot of signs, so I did like logo designs and, just any kind of image somebody would want. Like if they wanted a picture drawn of their dog, I was doing all kinds of art pieces, I did album covers for a bunch of different rap artists. I even got to work with MC Breed, God rest his soul, back in the day. So it was like I got to, powwow with some really great people and do, band covers. I would airbrush on stuff. So I did a lot of different things. But what I want you to know about that is it's kind of a double-edged sword because it can pull you away from comics if you let it. You got to be careful as far as how much you delve into the other stuff. But it can also bring in some nice income so that you don't have to buckle on your prices. Because like back in the day, I started doing comics and I was penciling and inking pages for $70. I didn't know what to charge. And honestly, I didn't even know how to digital paint. I was trying to be funny here. I don't think it was invented yet. Could be wrong. But yeah, so I didn't know what to charge. I didn't have any basis of information to go off. And everybody's so hush-hush about it, which I think is just stupid. But whatever. That's just the way industries work. And so I that's what I charged. And then as I started to get I repeated myself there with commissions, things that led me to change my prices over the years. I often made $50 per hour for basic designs and logos. I worked on storyboards. This was years later and realized that you could make that much per panel, which was insane. I ran a business for 15 years, so I became aware that you can't just make money for today. You got to provide for downtime and unforeseen expenses. Liability is in every business. Yes, art is a business. Comics is a business. Forgive me for reading this to you like some silly storybook here, but what I'm trying to tell you is that you do have to be aware that, like, all right, if you're like, oh, I'm making 20 bucks an hour, that's great money from where I'm at, and I'm happy because I'm doing art. That's great. But does it cover your insurance? Does it cover your taxes? Does it cover your gas money? Does it cover your when you're not working? Because in any industry, and I've heard this from a lot of pro comic artists, it's not getting that first job, it's getting the first job and being ready to get the next and the next and the next. You got to be competitive. You got to be out there. You got to hustle. That's why you see them at the shows a lot, I imagine. So I'm kind of on the outside looking in as far as that goes. But as a professional working artist, I've been a working artist essentially since I was 25. I did run a sign business that allowed me to keep going, but I did that because I could use my art to make people's signs. That part kind of pulled me away from comics. This other stuff, the caricatures, the storyboards, all that made me a better comic book artist. So I think you just need to be aware of which things will add to your tool set and which things might dilute you and might make you a little bit too spread thin. Because we got to remember, there's only so many hours in the day and we got to sleep some of it, right? So that being said, those are some of the things I did and how I kind of kept doing what I do. And so now what's happened is I've gotten to a level where, I still work my butt off, and do as much. I don't do a lot of like freelance work, and I don't get enough comic work to say pay my bills, right? But I do teach comics through like Udemy and Skillshare. That helps out a lot. Obviously, the YouTube channel helps out. My Gumroad, your guys' support of the brushes and the digital assets I make, like videos and brush content and things like that. So I've been able to develop enough of that stuff so that I don't have to jump on those lowball offers. So when somebody comes up and says, hey dude, I want you to draw my comic, you're awesome, you're great, you're fantastic, but we don't have a lot of money. I'm like, I'm sorry, I wish I could help you, but I don't work like that. I'm not going to take a lowball offer like that. Like say they tell me some page rate of 100 a page. I'm not going to jump on that. In fact, I get about an offer a month based upon, my portfolio sites. I use DeviantArt, ArtStation. I don't get much from that one, but get a little bit from DeviantArt. I get a lot from my own website now because I've spent time developing it and building SEO, and that's kind of where I want to touch on, and then I'll wrap this up because I don't want this video to be too awfully long-winded. But basically, I kind of look at it like this. If I'm going to take a low offer from somebody, I would rather invest that time in my own comic, in my own branding, my own self-promotion in a sense. And, so people go, well, you need this exposure. You need to be printed. You need to work with us so that you get your name out there. And I think maybe in the olden days, sounds funny, but like maybe back in the day when all you had was, getting your book and printed and put into diamond distribution, that was the only way to like kind of make it, I think, or to bridge the gap other than working for the big companies. I don't think it really works that way anymore, not as much anyways. I mean, you can brand yourself, you can use social media to build a following, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. You can share your art so quickly and so interactively that you can really do so much on your own. You can learn SEO tactics and build web pages, and you can help other people. This is what's helped me. I help other people with the YouTube channel and with the other content that I create, and I think they remember that. And I think that's led to me getting other opportunities. There's like a quote by Zig Ziglar, and I'm going to probably slaughter it, but it's like, to find success, help other people find their success. If you help enough other people find I shouldn't even try to quote it. I'm paraphrasing. But anyways, it's like help other people and you'll eventually find your way. Like, and it's such a real thing. I mean, that's just how it works in life. You just got to help people and they'll help you back. And that's why when you're working with other people in comics, storyboards, caricatures, your ability to communicate and be a nice person and help others, and it comes through in so many ways. So that's a big part right there. It's not just being talented. I think if you're talented, obviously that's fantastic. People will probably deal with you a little bit longer if you're a bit of a jerk, but eventually if you're a jerk, you're just not going to get work, and people are going to move on to somebody else that's talented but a really awesome person to work with that they can communicate with. So I've used some other things, like I said, the digital assets, and now it affords me the opportunity to work more on my own book. That's what you see me doing here. I'm just working on my title. I don't derive any income from this until I launch it on my Gumroad, and I'm actually working on getting it onto Comixology, and I think Amazon bought them, so I'm working on resubmitting because I submitted my first book and they turned it down. Thanks a lot, man. But anyways, I'll resubmit it. I don't give up. That's my other quality that I think leads to me finally being successful at something, is I just don't give up. But yeah, so try to think of it in ways where you can utilize your art and maybe help yourself buy time till you get that big comic gig. Now, there's another approach to this. You could say, well, Rob, I don't think that if I did all these other things, I would, fulfill my comic destiny, right? And I can relate. I feel like I should have already made it in comics and been drawn Spidey or whatever for Marvel, but whatever, it didn't happen yet. You notice I said yeah. But, so like basically you could say, well, I don't want to separate my focus so much, be all over the place. So I'm just going to do comics, and I'm just going to take a lower pay, and I'm going to just cut my bills back. I'm going to be a minimalist, and I'm going to draw comics until my page rates can go up. That's not a bad approach. I mean, that's probably what most professional comic artists have done, I would imagine. But I will tell you this, I did notice when I was doing storyboards, you look at the roster of the different artists, I found a couple that were comic artists that were also doing storyboards. So I think there's just different ways to look at it. You can either be somebody that's versatile and do a couple art forms, or you can say, no, I just want to do comics, and until I get that higher page rate, I'm just going to bust my hump, and I'm going to draw lots of books and really get my name branded and out there. That is definitely an opportunity, but I would just say be very careful, because there's a lot of sharks that I've bumped into, just to try to take advantage of you. And I guess since I've been in business so long, I don't fall for that stuff, or at least that's the way I look at it. Like, maybe it's a poor way to look at it, but I just don't think that, people paying you an exposure and things like that makes any sense anymore. Like, you just got so many opportunities. You got Kickstarter, you got Indiegogo, you got Gumroad and sites like that help you sell digital versions of your own stuff. You just really need the following so that when you put that stuff out there, it gets some traction. And generally the way it works is once stuff gets a little traction, it kind of becomes a little bit self-sustaining. So, take it as you will. So now, all right, this is your opportunity to let me know what I might have missed, or also what's worked for you. That's what's great about the comment section below. Comment and say, man, Rob, you helped me here, but you know what? I've been doing this and it's worked fantastic. Or, hey, Rob, you're out of your freaking mind, and I would definitely not do that and do this. That's okay. The debate down below is fantastic. It helps others like us that are all trying to, put what we know together and figure things out. So feel free to comment below. And I really appreciate the support of this channel. And I will talk to you soon. So as always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.